We walked day and night. We were afraid of being discovered by the enemy and killed. And on the way, we did have some of us that were eaten by wild animals.
Matthew is one of about 3,500 South Sudanese in San Diego, part of a worldwide diaspora. In January, many in the community cast their votes in the independence referendum. Chul Tut runs San Diego's South Sudanese Community Center.
I was born in the war and grew up in the war, and now is the time to vote. That means it's going to be my last bullet for that war.
Refugees who came to the U.S. from South Sudan did not have an easy time. When Agnes Olwar arrived 17 years ago, America was far from what she had imagined.
When I got there, it was one-bedroom apartment with 5 or 6 guys, roommates, then plus me and 2 younger kids in one-bedroom apartment. And you can imagine how can we live like this? You know, there is a lot of drug dealers going around. There is a lot of shooting going around. So I tell my husband, I wish I'd go back, live in refugee camp other than, because I was scared all the time.
Now she's the proud owner of her own hairdressing business with a child in college. But South Sudan beckons. Even though they've spent years making their lives here in the United States, many South Sudanese say they're eager to return to their homeland and help build a new country.
When the peace comes, all those people will be going back to Sudan, and they will come with a skill, whatever the skill they have, to bring that nation. That will build up the country. I have to go back and do whatever I can for those people who need the skill.
Matthew Riek, who now has a master's degree in public administration, wants to work for the new government.
One could be thought of as crazy if you want to go back there. But for me, you know, having gotten to where I am today, especially with the education that I've gotten, I feel like, you know, I would do a disservice to my country where I was born, you know, if I don't go there and do something.
Agnes Olwar, too, is ready to leave the relative comfort of life in California for something deeper and more meaningful.
I really want to go back and help out. And also we have like a lot of family that has been scattered all over the world. I wish one day we can just go back and be as family one time. We can have a place we can call home.
Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, San Diego, California.
Now, Thai and Cambodian troops have clashed for a 4th day along a disputed border near a 900-year-old temple. The fighting has forced residents to flee from their rural villages, as Wayne Hay now reports.
Living near the Thai-Cambodia border can come at a cost. In recent days, an ongoing land dispute has shattered the peace in this otherwise sleepy Thai settlement. The owner of this house told us she managed to evacuate before a Cambodian artillery shell landed at her back door. This was the scene the night before, dozens of Thai shells streaking across the sky towards Cambodia. Despite the aggression from both sides, the Thai Prime Minister called for a peaceful solution, but said his country will continue to defend itself.
When there is firing into Thai territory, it's necessary for Thailand to protect its sovereignty. We counter the attack and we return fire only at military targets.
However, Cambodian television showed footage of the ancient Preah Vihear temple in the middle of the disputed area, which they allege was damaged by shelling. In Thai territory, the soldiers remain on edge. At checkpoints, supplies are being rushed to the front line. The border villages are now largely deserted. People who have stayed behind say they're ready for more fighting. They've armed themselves and are preparing new bunkers to shelter in. Those who aren't digging in are being catered for in the relative safety of a nearby town. The residents who have fled the fighting have come here to evacuation centres. In this one alone, there are around 9,000 people. Most of them say they're in no mood to go home anytime soon.
I will continue to stay here until the fighting stops.
Given the tension on the border, these people may be here for some time yet. Wayne Hay, Al Jazeera, Kantaralak, Thailand.
Now, emergency warnings have been issued for areas of Western Australia as bushfires continue to spread. The blaze has destroyed dozens of homes near the state capital of Perth, and more properties are under threat. Andrew Thomas has this report.
After widespread floods and a tropical cyclone, the latest natural disaster to hit Australia, bushfires. Southeast of the West Australian capital Perth, a spark from industrial equipment lit bone-dry grass. A second fire developing to the north of the city.
And whilst Victoria battles floodwaters, over in the west, people are battling bushfires. And we've seen the loss of homes. People who have been through the devastation of knowing that all of their possessions are gone, many of them not able to take things with them that are precious to them and which are now lost.
Gusty winds fanned the flames, houses in their path destroyed, and residents urged to abandon property.
All of a sudden the police just came along and said, please move along now, like the fire has jumped with the wind and everyone had to leave.
During daylight, the fire is being fought from the air, as well as from land. But it's been overnight, when helicopters can't fly, that the flames have been at their most destructive.
It was horrendous conditions. We knew it was going to be difficult to control these sort of fires overnight. We don't have the aerial support, but the ground crews get in there and do their best to protect properties and hold it.
While winds remain strong, the flames have the upper hand, homeowners doing what they can to stop their progress. These fires come 2 years to the day after Black Saturday, the worst bushfires in Australian history that killed over 150 people. So far, property the main victim this time around. Andrew Thomas, Al Jazeera, Sydney.
To Sri Lanka now, where health officials are warning of possible disease outbreaks in areas badly hit by floods there. More than 1 million people have been affected in the north and in the east of the island. Minal Fernandez has this.
Cleaning up the sludge, a business in ruins, a livelihood under threat. This family in Madiragiriya in north central Sri Lanka had 5 of their shops washed out.
I can't quantify the loss. It's only weeks since the last flood, and I couldn't salvage much then. I restocked however I could, and now this.
Here in the north central province, swollen rivers like this one behind me, and irrigation tanks reaching their spillover point and spewing into the surrounding villages have aggravated the flood situation.
People are getting their houses washed away, their livestock drowned, and crops are severely damaged. I mean, 21 to 22% of the rice crop in Sri Lanka is ruined.
Welfare centres like this one house over 230,000 people who were forced to leave their homes. Most of them receive food and emergency packs to tide over the crisis. But those who have stayed in their waterlogged homes are angry. Many say the government has not helped them.
Until now, we have not received any aid either from the government or aid organisation. We haven't got 5 cents or even a single grain of rice.
The latest disaster will stretch the country's rescue services to breaking point and will once again test the resilience of many Sri Lankans who are only just rebuilding their lives. Minal Fernandez, Al Jazeera, Madiragiriya in north central Sri Lanka.
And then the former US Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld is defending his management of the wars in Iraq and in Afghanistan. In an interview with the US television network ABC News, Rumsfeld says the world is a, quote, better place without Saddam Hussein or the Taliban in power. Rumsfeld's interview is tied to the publication of his memoir, which comes out on Tuesday. He will also release 2,000 documents from his time in public service, dating back to the early 1960s. Online company AOL is buying news website The Huffington Post for $315 million. It's AOL's biggest acquisition since the company separated from Time Warner back in 2009. Al Jazeera's John Terrett has this report.
The Huffington Post is one of the most powerful online publications of its kind, already among the top 10 global news sites. Not bad for a start-up just 6 years old. The Huffington Post has a small team that break their own stories, but its reputation has been built on trawling other news websites for headlines and exclusives and then publishing them all in one place on the Huffington Post.
You can send me anything, ariana@huffingtonpost.com.
The site gets its name from founder Ariana Huffington, the one-time Greek shipping heiress turned astute businesswoman who will join the board of AOL as part of the deal. By adding the Huffington Post to its growing stable of websites like MapQuest and the ultra-local news-based Patch.com, AOL is hoping to attract more eyeballs to its own struggling site.
I know there's going to be some speculation.
AOL's been having a tough time after it was dumped by Time Warner when their much-trumpeted merger from year 2000 fell apart. AOL's revenue from online commercials and dialogue